Will the Reds unleash another top prospect on us? Is Kris Bryant still a stash-worthy player? Join us for a gripping episode where we provide you with the best must-add players for your watch list and IL on this action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here as always with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane.
Yo, what's good, guys?
You can find us on all social media apps and platforms, all social media platforms and podcasting apps. If you're listening on one like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. It helps to grow the podcast and, just is a great thing for us. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel. Also gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And once again, if you're on YouTube watching, please be sure to like and comment because we love to talk fantasy baseball with you. Today's episode is brought to you by the Gametime ticket purchasing app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, always guaranteed. Locked On Fantasy Baseball fans, we have a fully loaded episode for you today. As always, let us be your team's secret weapon while we provide you with the best must-add players for your watch list and IL. And Matt, you're up first, but I think it's one of my boys we're talking about, and he's been an absolute monster.
Yes. If you haven't heard, if you don't know, now you know, Christian Encarnacion Strand. My guy has just been ripping up the minors this year. It's actually kind of bananas. He has 177 at-bats so far, 41 runs, 13 doubles, 1 triple, 17 bombs in under 200 at-bats, which is bonkers, 46 ribs, and he's batting about 362. And honestly, look, he has about 44 strikeouts to 19 walks, which isn't horrendous, but he's one of those new age baseball players where they could strike out a lot more than he walks and still have a great batting average because he just puts the bat to the ball and gets the job done. Encarnacion Strand is somebody that's going to benefit even more when he does get the call to the Reds, and he's hitting half his games in Great American Ballpark where the balls just fly out of the park. I mean, the upside for Strand can be absolutely bonkers. Now, let me dial this back and not be like, okay, I'm super excited about this guy. Now, let me just bring in some reality here as well. With him performing this great, quite honestly, my guy still has a ways to go in terms of proving himself to translate into the MLB when he gets to the bigs. So, he could be an instant hit and he could just keep this hot streak going, or he can come up and not adjust the big league pitching. So I wouldn't say he is like a sure thing in any which shape or form. But if I had to pick out of a lot of the prospects that are possibly going to be called up in the next couple of months this season, pretty much, he's the one I'm probably going to hedge my bet on as the next guy that's probably going to take that step forward and just be the top-notch prospect that we think he is. My bets are on Encarnacion Strand.
Yeah, Matt, you hit the nail on the head with pretty much everything with, Encarnacion Strand. You said Great American Ballpark. I've heard a lot of people call it Great American Small Park because, it's a hitter's paradise over there. I think Encarnacion Strand and Ellie De La Cruz are going to be like a staple at like around the 3 and 4. Maybe one of them hits 2, one of the top of that lineup for years to come. The guy's got almost a run per game, over an RBI per game. The batting average is outrageous. And what Encarnacion Strand did last week in the minors was absolutely bonkers. Encarnacion Strand last week, 526 batting average with 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 6 walks. The plate discipline is looking a lot better recently than it did, at the beginning of the year. The only thing that's really holding Encarnacion Strand back right now, he's not on the 40-man roster yet. He has to be on the 40-man roster to be moved up to the bigs. Joey Votto's on his way back. So I'm not sure what the Reds really want to do here with him. But I think now, if not now, when? If not, when they're calling everybody else up. McLean's up. De La Cruz is up. Abbott's up. Encarnacion Strand has to be next. If they really want to make that push, push all their chips into the middle of the table, go all in. Strand is that next guy that has to be there. As Matt mentioned, I don't think there's a prospect that's going to come up this year as far as bats go that can have the impact that Encarnacion Strand can. So it's kind of like all right, if you have the room on your bench, you have NA spots in your league, stash him now if he's available. Strand is 28% owned on Yahoo. Now's the time to make the move. So up next, we have a couple of Orioles prospects. I'll tell you this, and I didn't even tell Matt this. I almost went all Orioles prospects on the list today because there's just so many of them. We try and throw one on here every week. And Colton Cowser's up first. Colton Cowser is up first. The guy has been absolutely mashing down the minors. I think we talked about him a couple of weeks ago. If not, at some point, I know we talked about Colton Cowser. He's another one of those young studs for that Baltimore Orioles team. He is outfield eligible on Yahoo. He is currently 8% owned on Yahoo. I'm going to grab you his stats here in a second because my computer does not want to work with me here. I don't know why. But okay, I do have his stats here, folks. Sorry for the delay. So he's a 6'2" lefty, 220 pounds, big boy, ready in that, man body as we like to talk about. This year in 42 games, Cowser has over a run per game of 45, 9 doubles, a triple, 8 homers, 31 RBIs, 5 steals, batting .336. As I said with, the Reds, Baltimore is one of the best teams in baseball right now. So why not just push all your chips in? I could see them getting Cowser and the rest. We got another one up next. There's, Heston Kjerstad, Connor Norby. There's so many of these guys. Hey, bring them all up. Bring them all up. Let's go, Baltimore. Come on. Everyone's been waiting for this for a long time. Cowser, as I said, just go out there and pick him up. 8% owned on Yahoo. You need a little outfield help. You got NA spots. He's a great player to own.
Absolutely. Now, I really do like Cowser. Cowser could be really valuable if he does get the call. And you know what? I guess Baltimore is the only one that's been able to capitalize on the trust the process strategy, unlike Philly that just can't figure that crap out in basketball for the life of them. But it is what it is. They seem to just hit and be able to draft. So way to go, Baltimore. Sucks to be a Yankee fan when these guys are all hot. But anyway,
about it. Anyway, we're in trouble.
We are. Hopefully Dominguez gets the call this year. But anyway, let's not go crazy here. Let's talk about Jordan Westburg. Mr. Jordan Westburg, another guy that we really like. He's been performing really well this year. My guy is 6'2", 210 pounds. So, I'm really liking the man body. I'd love to see him put on another 10 pounds. That could be really dangerous for him, but he's already a big boy here. In AAA this year, he has 230 at-bats. He has 54 runs. He has 14 doubles, 2 triples, 17 bombs as well, 52 ribbies, 5 stolen bases, batting about 300 on the dime, and, 57 strikeouts to about 25 walks. So, not bad, but not great either. So Jordan Westburg, he's another one that just a new age baseball player, strikes out more than they walks. I like him. His upside is really great. Like, he has a history of just being phenomenal. Last year in 2022, in 413 at-bats, he had 18 bombs. Actually, I'm sorry. That was just in AAA. On total, he had 27 for the total year, which was great between AA and AAA. So the kid has power. I really do like his upside. Again, I'm not going to get too excited about it. I want to see get the call. I want to see what he's going to do in the bigs. But he's another one, like, I'll place the bet on that, like, hey, he could be really good and he could translate. Not sure if that's going to be instant or not, but Westburg does have the talent to do so. So definitely take a look, keep him on the watch list, and see where Westburg can take you.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore, I don't know how they find all these guys that have power and speed and can hit for batting average. They're just pulling out 5-tool guys left and right all over the place. It's been absolutely phenomenal to see. I'm like, even as a Yankee fan, I'm just happy to see Baltimore, coming out and, producing all of these monster players. Westburg is a shortstop, 6% owned on Yahoo. Jorge Mateo's really slowed down. Jorge Mateo, after that hot start, we kind of told you it wasn't sustainable, really slowed down a bit. And, Jordan Westburg could be up sooner than later to, take Mateo's spot. Maybe Mateo, just comes in every once in a while. They need a steal, something like that. I could see it. But Jordan Westburg, Matt, you covered him pretty well there. I don't really have too much to add except, go pick him up if you have an NA spot that's open or if you need a shortstop to stash. Well, up next, we're going to talk about, we got a couple more young gun top prospects that can make an impact. We got a Los Angeles Dodgers starting pitcher that, hey, we love him. Let's hopefully he can come back, nice and healthy. And then one of our boys from the Rockies that we've talked about plenty of times on this podcast before. But real quick, have you ever tried to buy tickets to see your favorite artist or sports team and wound up being stressed out by how much of a hassle it can be? Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. That's why you need to check out the Gametime app. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing out over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Using the Gametime app is super rewarding with flash deals and last-minute tickets. Easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Images and views of the seats you'll be sitting in, lowest price guarantee, and event cancellation protection. I mean, there's a reason it's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets and the lowest price is always guaranteed. And as always, we want to thank our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Be sure to lock on for a new episode tomorrow where we're talking about the best must-add players heading into the weekend. Also, real quick, we're almost at 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we couldn't have done it without you. If you want to help our show out, please be sure to share our podcast with a few friends who also love fantasy baseball or just baseball in general. We'd be truly grateful for your support. But Matt, that is a lot for me here, my brother. You want to grab this next guy for us, please?
Absolutely. Let's talk about a pitcher here, finally, a pitching prospect. That's Mr. Owen White. Owen White, is a pretty nice pitching prospect. Last year in Double-A, he finished with a 2.49 ERA. He had 21 innings pitched in there to 23 strikeouts. The whip was a 106, which is really nice. He struggled a bit in A+, where he had, a 3.99 ERA, but still got the promotion because he had 58 innings pitched to 81 strikeouts. I guess when he made it to Double-A, he really did
Matt,
figure it out.
Can I chime in with actually some breaking news that I did not even see this?
Yeah.
Owen White just got called up today. So we actually were talking about somebody that just got called up.
Did he?
Yeah, I didn't even see this. Yeah, they recalled him. He's going to be starting. Oh, no, he's actually going to be working out of the bullpen at first. I think they're trying to build him up, it looks like. So maybe he's not a must-add right away, but definitely somebody to throw on the watch list and kind of see where things go here with Owen White. Matt, I'm sorry to cut you off. I did just see that, though, and I want to throw that out there for the fans. So he's more of a little bit of a wait and see because I don't think the Rangers are going to start him, but I think they're going to prep him to get into that starting role because they could definitely use another, arm in that rotation, especially with DeGrom going down. But my bad, Matt. You could hop back into it. I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
You're fine, man. Thank you for the breaking news because somebody probably would have commented and said, Matt, what are you doing? You didn't know he got called up today.
I didn't. That's my fault, guys. Blame me. It's my fault. I didn't see it until just now. I had a nice long nap after I got home from work, so I missed that one. But, yeah, Owen White got the call.
I didn't see it either, so we're even. But this year he's having a pretty good year on the minors with a 3.54 ERA. My guy has 53 innings, 45 strikeouts. A little bit down on the Caper 9, but I think he'll get that back up. Not really concerned about that. And he had a 1.144 whip. So, look, Owen White has a lot of upside. And Dom said there is opening in the rotation for him to earn that spot pretty quickly. So there's no reason why Owen White won't get there. I think the bullpen is just build a little confidence because they are jumping him up from Double-A, which, happens a lot with pitching prospects. They usually most of the time don't see Triple-A if they're really performing. But who knows? Maybe the Rangers like to take a different path with their pitching prospects. We shall see. That's Owen White for you.
Yeah, you know what, Owen White, nice, strong, young pitcher there for the Texas Rangers. I think he's 6'3", 200 pounds, so he could put a little bit more weight on to go into that nice man body we like to talk about on this podcast. But it's really just keep an eye on him right now. Make sure he's on your watch list. See where things go with the kid. Maybe as Matt said and I was saying, he can find his way into that rotation. We've seen it with guys before. I know Chris Sale, when he first came up, kind of worked out of the bullpen a little bit, then wound up becoming a starter. I think that's what's going to happen here with Owen White. Just trying to build him up a little bit. They don't want to waste all of his innings right now because he hasn't really thrown a crazy amount of innings in his career. He only threw 80 last year, 28 and 2021. So we'll kind of see where things go here. No, that was actually in the Arizona Fall League. He threw 35 in 2021 during the season, an additional 38 in the Arizona Fall League in 2021, 80 last year, 53 so far this year. So maybe he would only touch like 120. So they really I think they want to wait. And, the Texas Rangers are making a push for, a playoff run, and they might want to throw him out there, towards the end of the year. So just keep Owen White on your watch list for now and see where things go with him. But let's move on to we got another, ironically enough, another Reds prospect here, and that's Noelvi Marte. Noelvi Marte, nice young, shortstop, plays a little bit of third as well. The Reds are, like we talked about, like Baltimore, throw all the cards into the middle of the table. Throw all the chips into the middle of the table and play the cards that you have, right? Noelvi Marte so far this year, 47 games, 188 at-bats, 35 runs, 10 doubles, 8 homers, a triple, 25 RBIs, 10 steals, batting .293. I know when he got drafted by Seattle and, was coming up through their minor league system, the guy got a lot of love. He had a little bit of a down year last year. People didn't do as good as he expected, especially in the Arizona Fall League coming into this year. Really kind of underperformed, but you know what? Noelvi has, a lot of speed. He's got some pop in that bat too. There's not really much else I could say besides he's another top prospect there for the Reds. And at some point, I really think they go all in, especially towards the end of the year, and they keep control maybe on a few of these guys. Noelvi's 2% owned on Yahoo, super under-owned. Shortstop prospect, as I mentioned, that's the eligibility that he has on Yahoo. If you got those NA spots, another guy you should consider throwing into one of your NA slots, Noelvi Marte.
Great take, man. Great take. Honestly, man, I have nothing else to say on that. I like Marte a lot. That's the only thing I can add. So, how you doing? But let's move on. Let's talk about a pitcher, somebody that's been on the IL for a bit, and that's Mr. Dustin May. Dustin May, came in this season after returning off injury and really just did exactly what we thought he was going to do. He had a 2.63 ERA. He had 9 games started. My guy had 4 wins out of 5. That's really nice. 48 innings pitched, 34 strikeouts. And my guy had a whip of a .93. Like, how you doing, man? Like, you're doing great. I really liked what he was doing to start the season. Now, unfortunately, Dustin May had to go and get himself hurt. And it's really just, not my favorite thing. But here's the thing. There may be a buy window right now on him. And he's out there in about 25% of the leagues. And by the day, more and more people may drop him based off of who's getting hurt and the need to free up an IL spot. So, you want to keep an eye out to see if he does get dropped so you can stash him on his IL. It's also one of those things, too, where they're saying he's weeks away, right? So this is where you might be able to go out and buy him on the cheap and stash him on the IL if you have a couple that are freed up and you don't mind it. You can see what you could give up for him. It may not cost you a lot because, people may be fatigued and be like, oh, look, he's just a phalanges guy, which is injury prone and here on Locked On. And, the guy just can't stay on the field. Or you might be able to say, well, it's forearm. You don't know. Maybe they'll turn around and give him TJ. So you might be able to go in and sneak one past the goalie as well and try and get Dustin May. But ultimately, keep your eye out, see what happens. And if you can get him out from under somebody, definitely check out Dustin May.
Yeah, if you guys were with us last year, I talked about Dustin May like a crazy amount. I was super excited for him to come back. He was pretty solid last year when he came back. He wasn't great. He kind of slowed down after his first few starts, but Dustin May still only 25 years old. He's got the world at his fingertips. I'm sure he'll be back at some point this year. But as Matt mentioned, you know what? Now is the time to buy low on him and kind of just see where, things go. I think it's more of a dynasty, long-term keeper league. If you got a lot of keepers in your league, I think this is one of the only opportunities you're going to have to trade for him over the next few years. I think he's going to put on some more muscle. He's 6'6", 180 pounds. Got to get up to at least 2 bills, 210. Build up that muscle, build up those arms, get a little more strength, so you're not, fragile or fragile. I think Dustin May has a great future ahead of him. You should definitely go out there. If he's available in your league, definitely pick him up and throw him on the IL if you have the room. If not, try and go out there, buy low or for Dustin May and see where things go. But as I mentioned, we have coming up, one of my favorite and Matt's favorite players, in the league, hopefully Colorado Rocky that can get it going. We got a top prospect that was breaking out this year before the injury from the Detroit Tigers coming up. And we got somebody that Matt loves to hate, St. Louis Cardinal guy coming up next. But all right, folks, we are back. Thank you for dealing with us, through that little ad break here. And Matt, you want me to keep it going? You want to hop in here?
No, keep it going, bro.
All right, so let's talk about Kris Bryant. If we haven't already talked about Kris Bryant enough this year, it's just been kind of like a shame that, he's, down once again, another injury for Kris Bryant. Who didn't see that one coming? It's not that I didn't see it coming. I just thought that, Kris Bryant would be able to play more games than he did last year. He's dealing with that, foot injury. I believe it was his heel. He's been, taking batting practice. He hasn't been cleared for running yet. He's been on the IL since, June 1st. So, it's only been about 2 weeks. But, we'll see where things go. He was dealing with that foot issue last year as well. So, it's lingering, guys. What can I say? I think when Kris Bryant's healthy, I know he's a good player. He was doing all right so far this year. He was hitting 263, 5 homers, 17 RBIs, 21 runs, 6 doubles through 50 games. And, he started off like a house on fire and then really cooled off over the last, few weeks before he got hurt. But I think maybe he was dealing, that foot was starting to aggravate him a little bit. That's why it went down. I think when Kris Bryant's healthy, he's a 300 hitter in Coors. Maybe not the 30, 40 bomb guy we thought he was going to be, but he still definitely can get you at least 25, I think 30 in Coors. And the runs and RBIs kind of depends on the team around him. If Cron comes back strong, when Bryant comes back, and Tovar and, Ryan McMahon's actually been pretty hot of late. And we got Nolan Jones there. How can I forget Nolan Jones? Must-add player if he's available in your league, by the way, Nolan Jones. But that team is decent. So I think when Kris Bryant comes back, he'll be all right. He's down to 70% owned. So, he was closer to 100, so if he's out there in your league, you have the IL spot, he's worth the stash. I don't know, Matt. Am I crazy here on Kris Bryant? I'm still believing. Is everybody else out besides me at this point?
Yeah, so here's the deal, right? I know, I think it was last week we were saying trade 4. This was right before he went down.
Yeah.
Actually, we had that episode Wednesday, and then he went down on Thursday. So, it's just unfortunate.
Of course.
But now I'm looking at it like this. So, I would pick him up if he's out there on the waivers and stash him for as long as I can and see what the upside is. I'm not going out there and trading for him. He's not somebody I'm trying to go buy low on. But what I am doing is I'm waiting and watching and seeing and praying that he gets it. But I'm going to say something else too here. I always say one of my things is stay like water on this. Keep your head on a swivel with how much you get attached to a certain fantasy player. If he doesn't make 400 at bats this year by the end of the season, he's going to be on my he's going to be like a 60 in the 60s ranked next year, going into next year. And he'll be one of those guys we'll be talking as somebody of a risky play that you might want to draft towards the end of your draft. But I'm not going to be drafting Kris Bryant with confidence if he doesn't hit 400 at bats this year. Because last year he only had 187.
Yeah, 42 games.
I'm sorry, that was 2021. 2022, he only had 160. So it's looking mighty rough these last 2 years. And I figured, hey, maybe we're going to figure it out. But unfortunately, it's looking like it's trending the other direction. And I'm really disappointed because I do love Kris Bryant. But let's move on here. Let's talk about Mr. Jorge Polanco. Somebody else I have a lot of fatigue with. he's just somebody that I expected to be better after that big 2021 year. We just had like a a really solid season with 33 home runs, batted about 269. You know, almost did a hundo, but he followed it up the next year with being hurt a little bit, but not even on the same wavelength as last year as the year before. And this year it's the same ordeal. I mean, he came out for the short period of time he was up back from injury and has just been absolutely doo-doo with 120 at bats, 11 runs, 9 doubles, which is nice, 5 home runs, 16 ribs, batting about 250. Like, I'm not thrilled with these numbers, but I mean, here's the thing with the landscape of how what do you call it? Sorry, on how second bases and whatnot. Like, quite honestly, you might want to just think about stashing him. Dom doesn't have a second baseman in a league, and he's somebody that he should probably consider stashing. But I mean, it didn't look great right before he went down. So, he's on the lower tier of what you should of a guy I'm really running to go get. But I rather see how long I can hold him for if I can to see if I don't have a second baseman, maybe Polanco could be that solution when he gets back. Another thing about Polanco before I let it go here is Polanco is a second half kind of guy. Yes. He's a very slow starter. So, the only thing on his side and why I'm even being so positive about picking him up, even though it probably sounds like I pooped all over the dude, is, that second half upside where he could kind of just hit that next gear and just go, boom, here I am. And, I'm one of the better second basemen in the league for the whole second half. So, consider Jorge Polanco. And if you think you need a second baseman, you probably want to stash Polanco.
Yeah, Matt, you took my argument there of Polanco being a second half guy. I will say this, it is another hamstring injury for Polanco, and he just recovered from one, and they're saying it might be worse than the first one. So, he's at 41% roster right now. If you have the IL spot, stash him. It might be a little bit of a longer-term play, but, that my argument was totally going to be that Polanco is a second-half guy. But, Matt, great coverage on Polanco there. I don't really have much else to say. Let's move on to somebody else that, we kind of love here on Locked On. I know Matt was a little higher on him than me, which was a great call. It's Riley Greene. Riley Greene, man, before he went down, he was doing pretty well. He 29 runs, 5 homers, 18 RBI, 6 steals, 296 batting average on the year. He's down to 57% owned on Yahoo. Out of the more available guys, I know May's not really widely available, but I'd probably take Riley Greene over Kris Bryant at this point. I would take him over Polanco, and I would take him over the guy that we're going to talk about next. He is a wonderful, wonderful stash. If you're still able to get that move done, get him on your IL. I know there's a lot of banged up players right now, so you might not have the room. But Riley Greene, man, there was a reason that he was, I think he was number 1 prospect at a certain point. We've had a lot of guys move
right before
up and down that prospect list. Yeah, right before he got called up, I believe he was the number 1 prospect. And there's a reason why, man. The big 6'3" lefty, 200 pounds, a little more muscle on him. And, we could start, knocking bombs out of the park. But he had that monster 2021 season in the minors across AA and AAA. Riley Greene, 2021, 124 at-bats, 124 games, 485 at-bats, 95 runs, 25 doubles, 8 triples, 24 bombs, 84 RBI, 16 steals, and a 301 batting average. I mean, the guy can do it all. 5'2" guy. Let's just hope he's not a phalanges guy because he's been a little bit banged up over his career as well. But Riley Greene is definitely worth the ad right now. 57% owned on Yahoo. I think he's one of the best IL stashes out there right now in fantasy baseball.
Yeah, hands down. I love this kid. And it's funny too. Dom said I was high on him. He gave me so much grief for where I had him because I had him in like the top 36 outfielders this year. And I think I was spot on about it. I just, what, you can't pass up on two things. A dude that's 6'3" and over 200 pounds that steals bases and can hit home runs. Like you can't really bet against these kind of players. So like I really do like Riley Greene, and the fact the way he came up last year and kind of translated for a short period of time, then had his struggles, but then kind of bounced on back. Riley Greene looks like this year is his year. Now hopefully he can make it back soon. He's 57% owned. I don't know if you said that, Dom. So he's out there in about 40, 43% of the leagues. Like, if you can stash him, I 100% would. But let's move on here. Let's talk about our last guy here. I'm going to make this one quick because honestly, I'm really not a big fan, but it is what it is. That's Mr. Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill, Mr. Kill Your Batting Average himself. You know, he is who he is, right? He's going to bat you about 228. He's going to hit you as many home runs as he can stay healthy for, and he's going to get you runs and ribbies. You know, he is somebody that just annoys me. But right now, with the landscape of power this year, and how honestly it's not like a couple years ago with the juice ball era, we were only getting about 13 to 14 on a really good week for home runs. The week Tyler O'Neill could be somebody that can give you that nice influx to almost win the category while he stays healthy. Because way I look at Tyler O'Neill is he's almost as bad as Alberto Mondesi, and that's truly saying something. I think he's like the 1A of Alberto Mondesi in terms of flanges. Tyler O'Neill just can't keep it together. But while he is healthy, you need to ride the wave and see how many home runs he can get you in the meantime.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably a little higher on Tyler O'Neill than Matt, but you know what? He is, is a flanges guy. Tyler O'Neill's always, hurt, except for that big 2021 season where he had 34 bombs and 15 RBIs at 286. I mean, O'Neill's a 250 career batting average guy, so I would expect him to be around there when he is healthy. But, he's got a lot of power in that bat. He could hit you 20 bombs the rest of the way. If he comes back sooner than later, he could still steal you probably maybe another 8-10 bases the way the landscape is this year with steals being up with those bigger bases. But you can't hold your breath on Tyler O'Neill, especially with the Cardinals having a lot of mouths to feed in that lineup, especially when Lars Nootbaar gets healthy as well. So I think the fact is, if you need a potential guy that can go out there, give you a little bit of power, or a lot of power, and a little bit of speed, not necessarily so much batting average or guaranteed playing time, Tyler O'Neill is a pretty solid guy to, give the shot to. Maybe not my favorite guy we talked about today. I like Riley Greene a lot, but I like Tyler O'Neill too. I think he, has potential. If he can live up to it or not remains to be seen. But Matt, unless you got anything else, my brother, I think we're going to take it home.
I'm chilling, bro. Let's get this thing rocking.
Yep, so that's all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. If you haven't already, check out our website. And also thank you to our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Make sure you lock on for a new episode tomorrow where we provide you with the best must-add players heading into the weekend. But until then, see you.
Peace.